Every medieval castle has the same feature: tiny windows, barely wider than your hand, set into walls that are sometimes 3 meters thick, letting in almost no light, almost no air. For centuries, historians assumed the answer was obvious. Glass was expensive. Smaller windows meant less glass. Simple economics. That explanation is wrong, and the real reason reveals something far more interesting about how medieval builders thought about architecture and about war. Stand outside any medieval castle and look at the walls. The windows are not just small, they are a specific shape. A narrow or vertical slit, sometimes with a horizontal crosspiece, set into the outer face of the wall. From outside, the opening is barely wide enough to push your forearm through. But walk inside the same wall, through a doorway, into the thickness of the stone itself, and the picture changes completely. The narrow outer slit opens up into a wide internal chamber. The window broadens dramatically as it goes inward. An archer standing in that chamber has an enormous field of fire, left, right, downward, while presenting almost nothing to anyone trying to shoot back from outside. This shape has a name. It is called an embrasure, and it was not designed to save money on glass. It was designed to kill people as efficiently as possible while keeping the person doing the killing almost completely protected. Here is what an embrasure does in practice. An archer standing in the embrasure can cover approximately 180 degrees of the exterior wall from a single position. He can shoot left, he can shoot right, he can angle downward at attackers climbing the wall directly below him. The attacker outside trying to shoot back has a target the width of a human forearm. Medieval warfare mathematics made this extraordinarily one-sided. A single archer in a well-designed embrasure could hold a section of wall against multiple attackers simultaneously. Not because he was stronger or faster, but because the architecture itself was doing most of the defensive work. This is why medieval castles were so difficult to take by direct assault. The walls were not just barriers, they were weapons. So where does the glass explanation come from? Glass was expensive in medieval Europe. That part is true, but the castles that used embrasure windows were not avoiding glass to save money. They were avoiding large windows entirely because large windows were structural weaknesses. A large window opening in a thick stone wall creates a stress point. The weight of the stone above the opening has to be redirected around it, through an arch or a lintel work, and the larger the opening, the more engineering that redirection requires. Small windows meant simple engineering. Thick, uninterrupted walls meant maximum structural integrity. Maximum structural integrity meant a wall that could withstand the impact of a battering ram, the weight of a siege tower, or the undermining of a tunnel dug beneath the foundations. The window size was not an economic decision, it was a structural one. And the narrow slit was not a compromise, it was an innovation. The design was so effective that it persisted across 5 centuries of castle construction with almost no variation. From the Norman castles of the 11th century to the fortifications of the 15th, the embrasure remained the standard window form wherever defense was the primary architectural concern. When gunpowder artillery arrived in the late medieval period and made traditional castle walls obsolete, the embrasure went with them. The moment the wall stopped being a weapon, the window stopped being a slit. Within a generation of artillery becoming dominant on European battlefields, castle windows grew large, ornate, and filled with glass. Not because glass became cheaper, because the building no longer needed to protect the people inside it from arrows. The window tells you exactly what the building was afraid of. Every detail of a medieval castle was a decision made by someone who expected to be attacked. The narrow staircases that turn clockwise, the drawbridges, the portcullises, the murder holes above the gatehouse passage, and the windows, especially the windows. What looks like poverty or limitation from the outside was, from the inside, a carefully engineered field of fire. Medieval builders did not make their windows small because they could not afford larger ones. They made them small because they were very, very good at their jobs. Codex Obscura, the story behind the story, behind the